name is Haley-Louise and welcome to my channel. Today, as you may have guessed, I am going to be bringing you this little Red Riding Hood look. What do you guys think? This has been done so many times over by people, but I really just wanted to do like my own interpretation of it and my own version, and add a little bit of gore. So Red Riding Hood went to visit Granny and did not survive the wolf attack. There was no huntsman, he was on his lunch break at the time. So I am just really excited. This is the first of many tutorials. I've already filmed a couple, they're coming your way soon. Please, if you are not already and would like to be, and would like to see more tutorials, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell, and yeah, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of my little Red Riding Hood. Without further ado, let's get on with the video. So first off, starting out with a fresh face and contact lens ready in, I'm going to be taking the Revolution Pro Sfx Palette. This has a range of different colours in, absolutely brilliant. I'm going to be taking a dark burgundy colour just to draw the outlines of where I want the scratches. Going in with a product now called Dermal Wax. This is available in most Halloween stores and shops online. So I'm basically going to roll this up into small little bowls, no more than a pea size, roll them out into a sausage and stick them on my face on top of the scratches that we made. I'm trying to press down and kind of flatten the edges as I go, but don't worry too much. After all, it is Halloween. A little tip if you find that this is sticking to your fingers or sticking to your hands is to use a tiny drop of either baby oil or Vaseline to keep the product moving. After I'm happy with the placement of the wax on the wounds, I'm going to be going in and just powdering that area. Next up, we are going to be taking a small wooden spatula or whatever you have to hand really, and cutting into the wax and making those dents, the indentations, the scratches. To ensure this all stays in place, I'm now taking liquid latex on a small cosmetic sponge that I can throw away afterwards. Please do not use a good beauty sponge, you will just be throwing it away. So I'm going around all of the outlines of that, just trying to smooth out the edges, making them as smooth as possible so it looks like these rips are actually in my skin. To create the rip neck, I'm also taking the latex on that same sponge and going across the front of my throat and just layering it up. In this instance, I did 3 layers and remember to wait for them to dry in between or else it gets a little sticky. By this point you should be looking as gorgeous and flawless as me, but let's put some foundation on. This is a palette that I got online. As always, I will leave everything I've used in this video linked below if you want to go and check it out for yourself. I am literally just going to apply a foundation as normal. When you reach the Sfx section or your wounds, I would suggest just stippling the product over the top as we do not want a full base, we just want to cover those edges. Give your face a quick powder, any translucent powder will do, all over as you would in your normal makeup routine, and also to your wound area on your face. Next up, we are moving on to contour. Contour as you would normally. In this case, I did only just go on the cheeks and also took a bit of that contour colour on the same brush and just dabbed it over our scratches. Next, I'm taking this matte pink blush here and just applying it over the cheekbones as I would to give us a beautiful youthful glow, and over the wounds as well, just to add a little bit of pinkiness in areas. Taking that same contour colour out of the palette, I am just going to define my crease a little bit on what we will call my good side, and then repeat on the opposite side but concentrate the colour more on the lid down to the eyelashes. Also, you can drag a little bit of this underneath to give, you know, the impression that your eyeball has been through some things and seen some things. Going to do my eyebrows now using the Revolution Pro pomade. I just literally just flick through to get a little bit of colour back in the one with my wound side. Don't worry too much about having the eyebrow on fleek that side. and did my eyebrow as normal on the other eye. Adding a natural highlight now in all the usual places, cheekbones, above the brow, Cupid's bow. On the good eye now, I am just applying a thin layer of mascara to both my bottom and top lashes and applying one falsie. Oh yes, we only need the one, so if you're a struggler like me, this is great. Time for the gore to begin. Okay, so using a cotton bud or a Q-tip, I'm going back into the Sfx palette, and again with that dark burgundy shade to just get into the crevices of our slashes. I'm also going to be using a black as well and switching over to a smaller fine detail brush to get into the smaller areas. I find a lot of the time when you're building up wounds and things, please do not jump straight to red. Our skin underneath, if you want to create depth, is going to be darker. There is meat there, so we want to use browns, blacks, possibly some blues, purples and dark burgundies. So a little bit goes a long way. Dab it in, build it up how you feel, and just really create some dimension. Once I'm happy with how that's looking, I'm going to go back to our now dried latex neck. Okay, so this part is a little bit gross, but basically if you just flick it around with your finger, you should be able to kind of like pull it away from the skin and create a little bit of an air bubble. Once you have that, if you take anything with a little bit of a sharper end or even your nail and just basically pull it apart until you have a wound that you like the look of. I then went in with a little bit of Vaseline on a brush and just kind of like made that hole bigger until it was the size that I liked. Again, going back in with the Sfx palette and using blacks and dark burgundies to kind of darken my edges inside of the latex. We're also going to add some bruising around the outside, so first off I just put a little bit of a pink blush over the top and then started adding in my colours. A lot of people use black for bruises. Bruises are not black mostly, so I used a mix of purples, blues, yellows and greens to kind of give that bruised effect around the wound. To finish off the eyes, I just went in with a kohl liner. On our rough looking side, shall we say, I used a dark brown to just to define a little bit, and I kind of smudged that around the eye as well. Don't be too precise. In the other waterline, our good side, I put in a nude liner just to brighten. Moving on to lips, I used this red shade and put it around the outside of my lips. Then on the inner corners, on the inside, I used a kind of more peachy tone and smushed those together so we get a nice, beautiful, youthful ombre effect lip. On to the blood. This is Pouring Blood by Grimace. I love this because it's got a squeezy top. So going back to the neck, we are squeezing some of that product into the top of our wound. This does not dry, so a little bit goes a long way. So squeeze with caution. We're just going to make that really, really gross and a little bit more juicy, shall we say. Switching over to a brush to get a little bit more where I want it and placement. Then I'm going to take that same brush, same juicy product, and go into our wounds across the face. Be careful with this. Like I said, I just had the tiniest little bit on the end of the brush just to add some goozy, oozy grossness to our faces. That's what we all want this time of year, isn't it, ladies? To finish up the look and add a little bit of arterial spray style blood, I use this blood spray. Again, you can pick this up from most places. I think I actually picked this up from B&M Bargains of all places. So if you're in the UK, go and get yourself some supplies. So I just sprayed this into my throat wound and let it dribble. With that, guys, the look is complete. Don yourself a little Red Riding Hood and you are good to go. Be careful. There's things in the woods like wolves. And maybe there's no huntsman to save you. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with you soon with more Halloween looks, guys. Have a great day.